Hello friends, welcome to another Rasberry chess video, and today we've got a pretty exciting one because we've got 10 of the biggest blunders in chess history on display for all to see. Now the reason why I've chosen these as the top 10 is because they were played by some of the strongest players of all time. So we're not talking about your average bullet player missing a mate in one, we're talking about like world championship challengers. We're talking about top grandmasters, and you're going to see some pretty cool other people here as well. You might even see some world champions fall. Spoiler alert. All right. Well, before we get started, let me give a quick shout out to my quote-unquote sponsor, Rasberry Chess. I've got a cool new website out. It's supposed to be one that's easier to interact with. Hopefully you'll be able to see some cool tournament reports, chess articles for learning, and some almost daily chess puzzles. I'm going to get those started before too long. And so I'm going to leave a description in the link below, and you can go check that out. Also, at the end of the video, I am going to give a couple of key points to remember on how to avoid these terrible blunders in your own games, so stick around because you're definitely going to want to see that. Alright, well let's get on to the blunder fest. Number 10. Coming in 10th place we have Neilson taking on Sergey Karjakin. And as you know, Karjakin is a world championship challenger. A world champion challenger, I guess. Whatever. Anyway, so he was playing black. And on move 100, he played the move King G5. And this just hangs the rook. Knight takes A1. So that was 100 moves down the drain, just like that. You could tell he might have been a little tired after 100 moves, but maybe this wasn't a blunder. This position is not very good for white and or for black, and there's a chance that he won't win this position. He might go another 100 moves and then lose. So maybe he just saved himself 100 moves of agony. Number 9, coming in 9th place, we have Boris Gelfand taking on Alexander Morozevich. And here, Mr. Gelfand, playing black, opted to play rook d6 for unknown reasons. Maybe he just wanted to get a pawn on b7. And here, I'll give you a moment. White to play. Don't take that pawn on b7. Rook takes e4, wins the knight, because if you take, then the rook on h5 hangs. Number 8. Number 8 is a very special one. We have Pablo Lafront taking on Shredder. And you might have heard that name before because Shredder is one of the strongest chess engines in the world these days. However, back then, engines were about grandmaster restraint. So you had a lot of high-profile computer matches, like, for instance, Deep Blue versus Garry Kasparov. And so they were known as tactical geniuses and beasts, but they, of course, lacked the positional prowess to contend with some, or for the average grandmaster. So they tried to make up for their lack of positional knowledge with tactics. But here we have Lafront playing bishop takes b7, totally fine move. And Shredder completely blunders and plays rook f to d8. Now, why is this a blunder? Well, okay, so if bishop f3, then queen to d7. And after queen to c2, which looks like it blunders back, rook takes d2, rook takes d2, queen takes d2, and now rook d1. Queen takes c2, takes on d8, and then takes on e8, and that is checkmate. So the computer just missed that easy piece, just gave it up for basically nothing, and that was just a huge shock in the world of computers. Number 7, we have Vladimir Kramnik taking on Wang Hao. And we know that Wang Hao is one of the strongest ever women players. She was a world champion at one point, women's world champion. But even women's world champions can make mistakes. Here, rook a2 was played. I'll give you a moment to see if you can find how. White takes advantage of said move. Just a simple little rook b8. King h7, queen b1, picking up the rook. And it's all over. Number 6, I believe.
Yes, number 6.
We have Vladimir Kramnik taking on Gary Kasparov. So you thought just women world champions could blunder big material. Well, first off, that's sexist. But second off, that is wrong, because here we have Gary Kasparov playing black, and he played the Queen of Fate to try to trade queens. But instead, his opponent opted to give him a bishop for the queen after bishop to d7, king takes d7, queen takes f8, and of course Kasparov instantly resigned. Well, if one men's world champion wasn't good enough for you, try this guy on for size. Here we have Anatoly Karpov again taking on Matthew Sadler, who's a very strong grandmaster. Sadler just played the pawn to e4. And white chose rook takes f7, winning a pawn, apparently forgetting that pawns capture diagonally. So that hurt. Karpov instantly resigned and quit chess forever after that game. Number 4, we have Donchev, a strong grandmaster, taking on another world champion, previous world champion, of course, Topalov. And here, Topalov played bishop takes e5, trying to avoid knight takes e5 and then knight to f6, check winning the queen. But still, there is knight h6 check, and the knight is defended by the bishop. And after pawn takes, queen captures h5. You got to see the whole board, my friends. Grandmasters are good at that, and but not today for Mr. Topalov. It was a sad day for him. Number 3, we have Deep Fritz taking on Vladimir Kramnik. Now, Kramnik has been scalping some strong players, and we've seen computers mess up. So are we going to see another one? Nope. In this case, sadly, Deep Fritz proves its tactical genius against Kramnik. Kramnik blundering here, played queen e3, threatening checkmate, or forcing a trade of queens where his bishop would then easily win in the endgame. And missing queen h7. Kramnik was defeated, missed mate in 1. Kramnik has been world number 2. I'm not sure about world number 1, but he has been one of the strongest players for over the past couple of decades, and he just missed mate in 1. It's pretty sad. Number 2, we have 2 very strong grandmasters. Larry Christensen was once a top American grandmaster playing Anatoly Karpov. Again, we have this world champion. He's playing black here. Karpov played bishop to d6, and Christensen forked the 2 minor pieces, winning it straight, picking up a piece, and Karpov instantly resigned and quit chess forever after that. Quit chess forever again, I guess, I don't know. Number 1, and potentially the most surprising of all, we have a player who is known as one of the greatest in-game players of all times, known as one of the greatest players of all times. He's somebody who squeezes the life out of his opponents, especially during the in-games, and he always looks for ways to win positions, even when they are theoretically or technically drawn. Here, Magnus Carlsen plays pawn to e5. And his opponent, Gankashvili, must have just sat back in complete stunned silence, because his opponent, the world champion, strongest player potentially of all time, just missed mate in 1, baby. That's pretty sad, I will not lie, from Magnus Carlsen. But Carlsen was okay with this. He came back and ended up, of course, becoming now a world champion. So if world champions, if the strongest players in the world can blunder, then so can and do we. But for me, the best way to avoid blundering is to come out of my shell. When I'm thinking, I think very deeply, and I'm very calculated. The number 1 reason why we blunder, besides time pressure, is because we think too deeply and forget about what is on the surface. So we might be thinking, okay, I gotta move my rook out of the threat, And then I'm going to push my pawn like this. Oh, wait, no, I can't do that. So let's see, what if I push my pawn like that? And oh, no, that doesn't work. So if I push my pawn like this, and then like this, yep, okay, that works. All right, so I'm going to push my pawn like this. Boom. What did I forget? I forgot that I needed to move my rook out of threat. And that actually happened once. That was kind of sad. To me. So, come back to the moment. After you've thought really deeply, come back. Pretend somebody pours a bucket of ice on you. And that'll wake you up, right? You'll come back to the moment. You'll see what the position has. Maybe your opponent missed something, and you can just win a free piece. Or maybe you're about to blunder, so you might catch yourself. That is going to be the best way to avoid consistent blundering on that basis, all right? So I'm also going to have an article out on my website, raspberrychess.com. Definitely go check that out. It's a really, really cool article. It's going to give you some good tips on how to blunder, everything that you need to know. It's going to be lots of fun, and hopefully that'll help improve your chess. So have a great day, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, definitely make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.